5, hold on. We're going to call this meeting to order. My name is Cindy Watson. I am the co-chair. I'm sitting in for Miss Kate Darlington this evening as chair. And we're going to go through a few little housekeeping items. If you are in the public this evening and you are wanting to have us address you for any public comment, you are most welcome to do that. There is a clipboard right here at the end of that table in the front. Please sign your name on that. If it comes up and all of a sudden you decide you don't want to speak or you get stage fright, no worries. We will not call you out. We'll pick on you a little bit, but we won't call you out. Okay. So that's pretty much how that's going to run there. How we start off is we do a staff report for those of you who have not been here before. The staff report will kind of tell us about what's happening after we do our roll call. So let's do roll call first. Russ, let's start with you if we could, sir.
Russ Cooper. Wayne District 1. Lance and Home District 2.
Wayne Bronis District 2.
Cindy Watson, District 1.
David Merrick, District 3.
Okay, perfect. Keep going.
Sean Gardner, Planning Director.
Brittany Hayden, planner.
Everett Neal, Code Compliance.
Okay. So we have enough for a quorum this evening, which is great. And Sean, are you or Miss Brittany going to give us the stuff? Oh, she's given us the staff report. Okay.
You do have minutes.
I was gonna say, do we have any minutes to approve from last time?
You sure do.
Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion on the minutes from our last meeting to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 8th.
Okay.
As presented.
And a second on that? Thank you so much, sir.
We're gonna vote.
Okay, I just want to make sure she's writing down. She's writing the names.
Oh.
You're good.
Okay, everybody agree on the minutes and be approved? Yes? Anybody oppose? Okay, the minutes then are approved from the last meeting. Okay. We're ready.
Are you kicking it over to the public?
I am. Well, I'm going to kick it into a public meeting right now, but we're going to have you open with the staff report if you would. So how we'll do that, I know Chuck, you know the drill, how we do it, but we'll kind of make sure we cover everything. We will open it up with a staff report. We, as the Planning Commission, can then ask questions on that staff report and address it that way. If we have an applicant that's present, we can bring that applicant up. And then from there, we can address some questions there. We'll then open it up to public comment. So if you've signed your name on the clipboard and would like to have 3 minutes, we tend to, even though there's only 2 of you this evening, we like to try to keep it to 3 minutes. We're a little bit lenient when we have a few less people to speak. So, and then from there, we'll deliberate again back between us and then move forward. Fair enough? Okay, let's do it.
Alrighty. So tonight, the application before you was PLN 26-017 Palm Branch LLC. This is to consider a rezone. The parcel is 343202010003. It is currently zoned A35 and would be rezoned to A20. Project is located on the west side of 1200 Road in Delta. All right, our first slide is just the introduction. So this application came before us as a boundary line adjustment or technically a replat. It includes 3 parcels. Two of those parcels are zoned in the A20. One parcel being 349317302001. Which is 1165 1200 Road. That is a 19.10 acre parcel. Again, zone A20. The next parcel is 34393173030001, and that is known as 1153 1200 Road. It is a 2 acre parcel zoned in the A20. The next parcel is known as to be determined address. There's some changes to that parcel, which I'll go into details later. That parcel is approximately 11.42 acres and is zoned as the A35. Adjusting the boundary lines for each of these parcels without a rezone will create each parcel to contain multiple zoning districts, which is not allowed per the land use code. We're requesting that parcel 349320201003 be rezoned to the A20 zoning district. So I have here some clarifications, a replat. First, a replat is processed similar to a boundary line adjustment, and it is an administrative approval. A boundary line adjustment, in a boundary line adjustment, a project must start and end with the same number of parcels. So starting with 2, ending with 2. A replat can combine and move property lines as long as all lots included must be part of a previous recorded subdivision. All parcels involved in this project are previously from a recorded subdivision. One parcel, which I'm not going to read the parcel numbers, but if you need me to, I can. Is a parcel 7 of the division, which was recorded at, or the reception number is 504143. Another parcel is lot 1 of the MS subdivision. Reception is 503346. And another parcel, or the other parcel, is parcel B of the JC subdivision. Reception number 377377071. In all 3 of those subdivisions, they did include road right-of-way dedication. For whatever reason, the assessor's office did not pick up the road right-of-way dedication. And so as I was processing this application, I had to reach out to the assessor's office to correct the records on file, to indicate that all of that road right-of-way was dedicated, which then resulted in new parcel numbers being created for the main parcel that will be re-subdivided, not re-subdivided, rezoned. So here you'll see a aerial imagery of where it is located at, to the city of Delta. It's down in that pink outline. Here you will see the zoning districts for each of those parcels. And as you can see, they both lie in the A20 and the A35. Is the proposed replat on both sides. One is just an aerial imagery, and the other is where you can actually see where the zoning districts would lie, creating those issues. The red lines are the existing parcel lines or the property lines. In the blue would be where lot 1 would lie with the proposed plat, and in the yellow is where lot 2 would, what it would look like with the proposed plat. There is no road dedication as it was already dedicated, so no need to do that. So there are some requirements for a rezone per the land use code. Neighborhood meetings are one of those requirements. The neighborhood meeting was held on May 4th, 2026 at the property. There was one neighbor in attendance with no concerns expressed, and then one neighbor did call the owner. Again, no concerns were expressed. Public notice is also a requirement. A public notice letter was mailed to the property owners within 1,000 feet of the subject property on May 11th, 2026. A public notice sign was posted on the subject property on May 13th, 2006, and the rezone application was published in the High Country Shopper on May 13th, 2006. So with that, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to approve PLN 26-017 Cog Ranch LLC, rezoning a parcel 349320201003, currently zoned as A35 to the A20 zoning district, and amend the land use code zoning maps, rezoning the subject property from the A35 zoning district to the A20 zoning district meeting the criteria for chapter 8, section 4 of the land use code. And with that, that concludes my presentation. And Ms. Cobb Kelleher is here if you have any.
Wonderful. So I was gonna, the applicant was here. Perfect. Welcome. Okay, so we're gonna open this up first to the PC. Any questions that you have for the staff or the staff report? It's a great time to do this. So if you don't mind, let's start with you, Russ. We'll come around the table. Do you have any questions of the staff on this report?
So based on what I've read of your stuff, John, there's no problem with the county and what you were saying is nothing within there.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Is that your question so far? Perfect. Thanks, sir. Stop.
Help me understand the thought process behind we're rezoning property into lots that every single one of them will be non-conforming. That
It's a
doesn't make
boundary, it's a boundary line adjustment,
Correct.
really. I mean, it's titled replat because of prior subdivision. So it's just titling, but really they're just moving lot lines around. And so it's not really subject to the, you know,
Zoning.
the zoning, like you can't,
As their
the
existing.
lot
lots.
sizes. But we don't control lot sizes on boundary line adjustments.
I thought it was a rezone.
It,
It is a rezone, but the reason why that we're at a rezone is because she's proposing to move the property lines, which is an administrative process. But doing that, moving the lines creates a parcel being in two zoning districts, which you cannot have.
once you move the lines of the zoning districts are gonna be like in the middle of a new lot, you know?
Right, so it seems to me like if we're gonna, because of that, we're moving it to a rezone, that they should be zoned to where they're conforming to those zones, they'd be A5. Which then would have to, or adjustments to get, or,
No,
no, not order of adjustments, if this rezone goes to where they're all non-conforming, they would have to go before the board of adjustments, so.
No. I
they're
mean,
already
chapter,
existing lots.
I understand that, but it just doesn't make sense to me that we're gonna rezone these lots into zones where they're not gonna meet the minimum lot size of those zones.
But if you put them in A5, that's creating spot zoning. There's no A5 out there.
Correct.
So why rezone it to A5?
Why rezone it to A20?
Because it's already
20
A20.
acre lots.
Agreed.
they're already non-conforming. They
Yeah.
started non-conforming, they're ending non-conforming. It's mostly just so that we can do the boundary line adjustment without having the newly configured lots with split zones in them.
Which this is the issue with our zoning maps.
We're getting a lot of these where people do boundary line adjustments and between two properties, there are two different zones. And then then we have to go through the whole entire rezone process just to get them zoned the same thing. So that when they do boundary line adjustment between the two, I mean, I don't know how we can do it subsequent to the boundary line adjustment. That's kind of sloppy too. Yeah, I mean, it's something I wish that there was an administrative process whereby we could just do the boundary line adjustment, which isn't subject to all of this stuff, and then just clean up
Clean
the
up the
zone.
zoning. Without putting it through.
Without having to go through this whole process. We're having to do it for several. And it's a lot of time and some expense to the property owner for what was a rather arbitrary zoning designation in the first
begin with.
place.
What's the intent with the boundary line adjustment?
She's cleaning up the property lines for state purposes.
You got a lot of people that come in and shuffle their boundaries to like, oh, I want this to be a part of that property that I want to give to a son or daughter.
Which is the case for this project.
And of course, the main hurdle is split zoning is strictly not allowed. Once you create a split zone, it has to be remedied. It can't remain. You
So
can't
that-
have a split zone parcel.
So that's why we're doing the rezone first before doing the boundary line adjustment, because if we do the boundary line adjustment, we created the split zone. Which we've done in the past and then had cleaned up. So we reversed the order.
It just seems like we're furthering the issue with our zoning where our zoning doesn't even matter. It doesn't even make sense because there's so many non-conforming lots. Which I struggle with. That
Yeah.
we're just making the problem worse by doing this.
A good point. It's a good point. I mean,
I think you're improving it by cleaning these up, right? I mean, that's the other way to look at it, is you're making some adjustments here so that to solve a problem that was created to begin with some arbitrary lines being drawn in the zoning.
but I mean, to Todd's point, why not clean it up to make it so that they're conforming lots, but then. Kind of to Brittany's point, it's just that it would be like an island of A5 out there and an ocean of A35 and 20.
So, but like if I wanted to split up my 40-acre property into 8 5-acre lots for estate planning to give to my family members.
Mhm.
What's the difference between doing that and creating a subdivision?
Well, you wouldn't be able to go down that far in an A35. What
We're
were
going
you
down
starting
to
with? Were you starting with an A35 or what?
Yeah. But we're going down to 2-acre lots.
No,
No,
there is a 2-acre lot involved, but it will no longer be 2 acres.
it's going up.
It's gonna go up.
It's going from 2 acres to what?
What are the resulting acreages of lots?
Don't have it pulled up. I think, the bigger lot is about 22 acres. And the one in blue right now is 19 and it's losing. It's barely gonna be under 20. But here in the yellow, it's about 22 acres.
In a lot of ways,
22 and 19,
Yeah.
roughly.
in a lot of ways, by keeping it a larger zoning district, you're
So can we?
making it
request that
less
the one-
possible to subdivide down into smaller.
Couldn't we just request that the one boundary changes to where it's 21 and 20? Did I hear you right? There's gonna be two lots as a result of this 122 acres and 119. Why don't we just request that the boundary changes so that they're both at least 20 acres, and then they're being rezoned into A20, and then that makes sense.
They don't have to be conforming.
They're existing lots.
They're existing blocks and the boundary line adjustment process doesn't make us have to make them be conforming to the lot
And
size of the zoning district.
we are creating lots, and yes, they need to meet,
Right.
but we're not creating.
In fact, there's lot consolidation.
Yes,
There's 3 lots that are moving into 2 lot as a result of this. And there's a lot consolidations happening. And so you're taking 3 lots and you're making 2 that are bigger, that are more conforming to the zoning district than they previously were. Is that correctly stated?
yes.
This is Brittany's project. He's doing a great job. Not doing a good job explaining.
Did we catch your questions at this point?
Yeah,
Okay, Lane,
I don't have any question.
You-
you either one of you, okay?
No questions.
No questions. So a normal property line adjustment is easy, but because they need to do the rezoning first because of her changing the lines, that's why it's not a simple property line adjustment. That's what I thought you were saying. Okay, so we're gonna have that clarity before I move down. Okay, so at this time, if we have finished the questions, maybe for the staff at this point, if we would like, applicant, you are most welcome to come up if you want to address us with anything, et cetera. Or anybody has the questions, when you come up, if you would state your full name and address for record, we would greatly appreciate that. And there'll be a microphone right there for you.
Do you really think I need it?
I don't know, but we say it just in case.
Sherry Cobb Kelleher, address is 1153 1200 Road, Delta.
Okay.
I own all the surrounding property. There's several different pieces. Cobb Ranch, Kelleher Ranch. Then the smaller two acre parcel was my original house that I bought from my father, was my 2 acres that I bought from my father. The piece, that triangle shaped field to the west belongs to Cobb Ranch. It's on the west side of the Buttermilk Creek. And I was wanting to clean up some of the Cobb Ranch property and make that west side of the creek adjoin my property. So it's a separate piece. The little piece that I cut off on top of the hill with the double wide, it's just a big adobe hill that sits right behind my house. I was wanting to move that property line to keep somebody from shaving off the top of the hill someday and building a house right behind me. But if I ever wanted to sell that piece, I wanted to make sure that, I want to make sure that I've got that safety zone behind me. But the main thing of it was just trying to clean it all up to make some smaller parcels on the Kelleher Ranch and the Cobb Ranch side for estate purposes for passing it on at some point.
Mhm.
I don't know when that's gonna happen, but eventually someday it will, because those things happen.
Mhm.
So just trying to be prepared for it.
Okay.
Makes it a little bit easier to get that stuff done now while everything's still workable and doable.
Mhm.
So,
And it sounds like you've had a neighborhood meeting already, I think on May the 4th, if I recall. And did that seem to progress answer questions that people
one neighbor
had?
showed up and he more or less just came by to say hi and see what was going on.
Okay.
And then the one phone call was, across the road and across the creek from us, there's another I think it's a 3 acre parcel that Terry Lee had, sold before I bought the property.
Okay.
He lives in Arizona and we're friends with him. He just called to see what was going on. And
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
not really a whole lot of,
Yeah.
not really a whole lot of concern. It's pretty cut and dry.
And we appreciate the
Just
neighborhood
trying to
meetings
keep-
ahead of time.
Yeah.
Those are very, very helpful for
Oh,
us.
yeah, I'm sure. But basically just cleaning it up, dividing that property up, getting the stuff on one side of the creek straightened up so I can straighten up the stuff on the other side of the creek.
Perfect. So at this time, I'm just gonna see if anybody from our planning commission has any questions directly for you. Anybody here? Ross, Todd? Anybody? Okay. No questions, Jay?
No,
Okay. So without further questions, I think we're gonna let you go back. Thank you so much for giving us some additional insight on that. We greatly appreciate that, Sherry. Okay. So at this time, we get to, I think, Chuck, did you also sign in on public comment, I think, this evening?
Yeah.
Okay,
Signed up.
okay. Would you like to approach us and give us some public comments, sir? You know the drill, name, address, et cetera. Thank you.
Even everybody wants to know me.
I'll say we do know you, yes, so we have to have it on record. Thank you, sir.
First name Charles, last name Cherrick. I'm at 5509 2000 Road, Delta, Colorado, in between G and F. I'm here, I'll back up, I'll give you about a minute of insight. Back before Sean, and just as Sean was coming on board, I had put in an application for a solar farm. And I met with Everett and Sean, and nobody really thought that I could do it, but I believe that you do all of your planning and everything before you start. I've had 5 people that were directing me from Sean's office. They all kept leaving, and I came before you guys and asked Sean why he was opposing my solar permit.
Okay, let me just stop you for a second, Chuck. Just said, we're trying to talk about this applicant and her situation
Oh, I
first.
thought you were moving
No, no,
on to mine.
no. But my thought is we could address Chuck after only for time with the applicant being here. And I super apologize. I thought you had signed up because you had comments about this particular project or application.
No, I was under. Sure.
Okay, if you would be so kind, I think what we'll do is we're gonna come back to you. That way we can kind of talk about this and then we'll come back to you directly. And if you want to start over, you can, or you can pick up where you left off, whatever you'd
Well,
like.
you know, when you get old, you forget where you were.
Well, you had me going there for a minute. I was wondering how this was gonna circle back around, so, but thank you for being so kind and coming back to us. Okay, so Sherry, let's come back to you. Sorry about that. I thought he had some, when he had some comments about yours. Okay, so let's come back to us as a planning commission. You've had a chance to hear from the applicant. We've had a chance to hear the staff report, their recommendations. Todd, I think you had some just questions about zoning and how this all sounds like they're taking two or three lots, excuse me, and taking and putting them into two larger just to try to clean up some estate transfer or succession planning, whatever we want to call it there.
So on that, real quick. So
Sure.
on the replat provided in our.
You want to pull that back up if you can?
It shows the lot one is gonna be 9.7 acres, is that right?
I don't have the
That's good.
plat, but yeah,
It'll be 22.7 and 9.7, those are the only two lots that will.
correct.
So the 2 acre one is we know it is going to go, like, it's not going to exist, correct?
It was 19. I apologize.
Okay. So questions about how that's gonna go, Todd?
It's just, it just doesn't make sense to me, I guess is really I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around it. Yeah, I just don't understand how we can rezone a property
And
to a place where it's
non-conforming.
non-conforming. I mean, we're like creating a non-conforming, issue.
It was previously non-conforming, it still is non-conforming.
Right, and I think, if we have, we have obviously a whole situation where we have lots of properties that are non-conforming, our goal should be to move them towards conforming and not just further make more non-conforming lots or zoning.
That assumes that your zoning makes sense, and I think we're all having trouble with the zoning doesn't kind of fit in a lot of spots, so maybe the solution is to rezone so it does fit, but that's another way of looking at it.
But if you did rezone it to A5, for example, to make it conforming as a 9.7 acre lot, then you could further subdivide that. I mean,
Right, that next, then
Right.
we're opening up.
whereas now you actually can still re-subdivide.
Mm-hmm.
Subdivided. The way our land use code is now, I don't know if you remember the land use code revisions in chapter 3, we talked about like. You can start with a non-conforming lot for the zoning district and still subdivide it down one time in a minor
Mhm.
subdivision.
Cause then in this process, don't we have to look at like, oh, okay, so are there resources available for this kind of development in this area?
That I don't know, but in terms of like water and
Like,
I mean,
if there-
access, yes. It'd just be a
What is
water
the water
project.
situation with the property?
It-
What's
Tri-
your
Tri-
Tri-County
We talked about irrigation water?
No,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
domestic?
Domestic.
Yeah, it's all Tri-County.
So there's presumably sufficient water in the near future. So it could be further subdivided. I mean, it could be further subdivided, whether it's because of the way we allow for the further subdivision of non-conforming lots currently, at least one minor plat, it doesn't matter.
Which is an administrative approval regardless, and they do not have to go to the variance process to make it a even more non-conforming law.
I mean, if we really had good standards in like chapter 3 for lot sizes and you had to stick to it, and if it's like right now, non-conforming, then there's no further subdivision allowed. Then, taking it to A5 would allow you to further subdivide it and keeping it in what we're proposing, A20, you wouldn't be able to. So it kind of feels like it collapses all into meaninglessness,
It makes me question, what are we doing here?
Well,
Why are we
I
asking her to ask for permission?
have that same criticism of our zoning districts. I mean, all we have is like small, medium and large ag this, zoning. And that's not extremely helpful, I understand the original intent of that was to induce, the smaller lots to be created around the municipalities and for them to stay larger to go out. But we're not practicing that in our land use code. And I think that's a criticism for sure that needs to be voiced and needs to be thought about. Because that was the intent of having those 35, 820, 85, 82.5. It was to induce growth around the municipalities and to keep the land holdings out away from the municipalities larger.
Yeah.
But we slapped all that over 120 years of development and subdivision. And then it felt unfair, I think, to the commissioners to like keep people, especially we got a lot of people that want to parse, split off that family homestead, 2 acres around it, and then give property to a family member. And, older people that don't have a whole lot of capital at the end of life, and they're just trying to figure out a way to monetize it to the end, and those situations are why we continue to allow people to subdivide and create non-conforming lots. And it does keep moving us into a meaningless sort of zoning. I think.
Personally, I think the less, I understand what you're saying, I totally get it, I just think the lesser of the two evils is take it to 820
Yeah,
and not do this spot 85 in the middle of
yeah.
all of that.
And I think I agree with that.
But your point is very valid, Todd, I'm not.
The 85 will get up a whole nother can.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would just agree that,
Yeah.
going with it different, but as you said, going with the lesser evils, I mean, you can look at the zoning around it. You have little lots in the A 35 that clearly are not
Sure.
35 acres,
Yeah, sure.
even in the A20.
Wrongs don't make a right.
That's a different battle.
The valid criticism.
Yep.
I mean, in this case, she's just moving some lot lines and we're
Yeah.
just trying to keep it cohesive.
Yeah.
I mean, we could move them without rezoning and see what happens.
Melissa,
No,
Okay.
we fixed it.
When we made mistakes.
Lane, do you have any?
No.
No, Lance, do you finish? Okay, David?
No comments.
Okay, I don't have any at this point. So how do we feel as a group? Do we feel somebody here could make a motion? It sounds like what she's trying to do is,
Report. Recommendation part,
yep, let's go back to that.
I can read it off.
We need any concerns about the creek running. Take.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Upper zoning.
and this is, they're not trying to do change it, the use of it.
The creek running.
The parcel is right next to it as well. You can see it on this one. But it's not gonna do any, are you asking if it's gonna split the parcel by the?
Just to clarify that bottom.
Yeah, you got it.
Property line on the south side of that, that is the original.
The chair.
That was on that property when Dad bought it from Jack Shea. 50 years ago. So yeah, that's the original. I didn't move anything on that bottom creek line. Now I could have straightened out a little bit more, to kind of go along with the fence, but that creek is so wishy-washy, you never know. So between that and the cows, you can't really control it, so.
But you're thinking more so of certain creeks or canals splitting the parcel?
Yeah, just thinking about, if further development were to occur, is there anything that we need to account for?
Just for clarification, that's not really a creek, that's a drain ditch that comes from over by the old Barnett Dairy. That's strictly drainage, it's not a creek.
usually only, bigger canals, like Fire Mountain Canal. There have been some cases where they have been split by the canal. It just depends on expense, all of that.
Thank you. Any other deliberation, questions of the applicant, of each other? Okay. With that, I think we have the recommendations. David asked me for it, so I think it's just gonna come down to now a motion, a second, and then we would vote on it. So if somebody would like to give us a motion, David, you thought maybe you might?
I move that the planning commission with regard to PLN 26-017 recommend to the Board of County Commissioners that the amending the land use code zoning maps, rezoning the subject property from ag 35 acres to agricultural 20 acres meets the criteria of chapter 8, section 4 of the land use code.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any,
Point of order,
sir?
we mentioned that we were authorizing them to amend the land use maps. But we didn't indicate that they approve the rezone.
Yeah, I think we need to add in,
Okay, yeah.
we need to add in a.
And it's up there too.
It's right up here, just want to read it off
Okay.
that screen too.
I'll make a second motion then. That the planning commission with regard to this PLN 26-017 recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the rezoning of parcels 34932202010003, which is currently zoned as agricultural 35 acres to agricultural 20 acres zoning district, and further that they amend the land use
There
code
you go.
zoning maps, rezoning the subject property from agricultural 35 acres to agricultural 20 acres, as this meets the criteria of chapter 8, section 4 of the land use code.
I'll
Okay.
still second it.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, please make it noted that everybody was in favor with no one being opposed. Okay. Ms. Applicant, thank you so much for being here and giving us some additional. Good luck at the Board of County Commissioner, I think is your next step. Is that right? Okay, and thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you for your time. Okay. Chuck 2.0, we're ready for you. Sorry about that.
not moving to you.
Now, I believe, is there any comment we have to do on this one before we close? I think we're good on that one. Good. So we're gonna move on. And Chuck, if you would, for one more time, just state name, address for me one more time, sir. Good evening.
Charles Cherrick, 5607 2000 Road, also 5509 2000 Road.
Thank you.
I'm in front of you kind of to give you just, there's a couple things going on with time restraints. There's a few people that'll want to know what's going on. That'll come shortly. I wound up with a situation, a piece of property, 80 acres that parallels 2000 Road. It was, they raised the road, and I was told there was always engineering. When I started working on my plans, there was no engineering. They just raised the road, but that was in an intent to move the water line and cover the water line with the new road, which constitutes a taking kind of. So I've got a water line from Tri-County on the property, no easements, no nothing. I've got a road, the big problem with the road, with 2000 Road, they elevated it as a safety concern, quote unquote. What really happened is they took out all the culverts. So now when this water comes from DMEA's project, they've already pre-sculpted the land, so they're gonna dump all of their water into the refuge for the wildlife refuge, and the balance of it's gonna come on my property. Historically, it ran right on down through the culverts, and it wound up on the Branstead property. So I have to start this all over. I've been in front of Tim McCracken. I've talked to Everett. Everett was a code compliance officer at the time, who I was also seconding as bringing, at the time, Sean Gardner up to speed on what's going on. What I wound up with was Kate Darlington. Kate from the planning office was getting married. So the easiest thing to do was just, before I was able to do all my planning, get all my ducks in a row after a year and a half of begging. I was told that my permit was canceled. It just expired. Sean had asked me if there was nothing in my file, nothing to do with any of the meetings, any of the directors or anything. So I thought about this. I came to you guys once before and I said, you know, I've been fighting and getting stonewalled on every corner. And I let it go and let it go. I spent a ton of money and a lot of time. Well, I can't get any plans for the road. I can't seem to get, Scotty says, we'll talk to Tim. Tim says, talk to the commissioners. The commissioners say, talk to Tim. So we're not going round and round and round anymore. So I've made a decision that I feel that I was set out and all I want to do is build an exemplary solar farm that would go along with the solar to use the water that I have. And instead I got Carl Holmes, who said, looked me right in the eye and said, this is a model solar farm. And he like opened his arms, blessing the Branstead, what they now call the solar farm that's in place. And I don't know what, they just renamed it, I understand, but I'm not sure. But this has nothing to do with my intent to disturb anybody's life on the planning commission. We have a few people that I feel were directly responsible for this. And I'm trying to get it straightened out. First, I'd like the water issue straightened out. So if I can't come to the planning commissioners, and I can't go to Tim McCracken, and I can't go to Scotty, and we now know by endless conversations that when I was told there were plans for 2000 Road, there are no plans. It was an as-built deal. They raised it up, took the culverts out. They had one culvert and Uncompetitive Valley Water just stuck a 21-inch pipe in it. So now I have a piece of property that when it rains, when it floods up on the old Star Nelson Ranch, I have all this water coming through, but instead of it going from west to east, it's now spilling over the top, coming into my property. And I've been backed into a corner. I have no choice, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. So that's where we're going from here. Time's of the essence. I only have a couple months to get rolling, but we'll see each other again. But that's the background why I'm being a jerk. I'm not really being a jerk. I just want some answers. I was told by one of the commissioners, we wanted a level playing field. Well, if it started out that I put in an application for a solar farm before they could put a moratorium on, that's not my fault. I did what I was required. I paid the money. I wanted the ride. All I got was stories. I can get stories all day long, but so this is what we're faced with. I don't know which way to turn. I don't want to, bother you guys. I mean, I appreciate all the time because I come into most of these meetings that you guys spend trying to get this right. Lot sizes, we'll move it. That's kind of how it goes here. And after a while, it's slowly coming together, but through a lot of mistakes. And we seem to be apologizing for some of the stuff that's done rather than getting it right. Maybe it bites a little bit. It's nothing that I did, guys. I just tried to follow the rules. I tried to make up a plan, tried to make a model, gave Robbie a model of what it was going to look like, and then I was going to give her a bigger one. But I could never get the drawings. Well, after meeting with everybody, guess what? It was an as-built. And Everett said to me, he said, well, we're going to have to go back to court because it's so long. Well, I happened to find the guys that worked on the road that worked for the county at the time, and they've explained to me what happened. So we're right back in the middle of a jackpot again. And I'm sorry for getting up here and
No, you're fine. That's.
yeah. So, I mean, I've spent as much time as anybody trying to get it right. I don't think that you build something and then draw the plans. I think that you go ahead and you plan it out and get everybody shaking their head in the right direction. And I thought it was a great idea. It wasn't going down to Denver and wallet whipping somebody to put sheep under solar panels. As you know, sheep and heat don't like each other. And you can't get a tractor in 6-foot solar panels, as we all know. But that's how it went. And, you know, there's a lot more that could be said, but I don't think that now's the time or the place. It'll come out. But I'm the one who suffered, along with my boy and the grandkids. I wasn't doing this for myself. I got into it. I mean, I went to seminar after seminar. I know more about solar panels and the problems with them. So I'm sorry to take your time, but you'll eventually see my name come up, and you know, I'm sure it won't have good adjectives after it. But that's where we're at right now.
Well, I will say, at least my experience, I do appreciate you coming to lots of our meetings. You are present, and I think that says a lot about you in the county, that you want to see what's going on in the county, and you've been at public comment several times.
Well, as you guys all care about the county, so do I.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
here
do we.
for a free ride. You know, I pay my taxes, put a lot of time in. I'm too old to help anybody do anything. I can barely
So
help
what's your
myself.
status now? And maybe I could ask either Brittany or Sean, what's the status now? Is he back to completing an application again, as he's going to be back in front of us? Is that what's happening?
Chuck had an application for a solar farm,
There we go.
and it had grown stale because there was no new submittals submitted for an extended period of time, and so we staled the application like we do. when the
Okay.
Application doesn't.
So you were saying that that means that there was more information that he needed to get to
He was-
someone.
yeah,
Not that he's
he-
gone through a lot of different individuals.
He was trying to get information from our county, apparently, with regard to 2100 Road.
Okay.
Some kind of engineering failure that he's alleging happened, and that is causing drainage water from adjacent properties to go into his property.
Okay,
And that this was an impediment for him to continue his application for the solar farm. But we just weren't receiving any information, and so we staled the application.
where is he now? I mean, is he on,
It's a
Use the
stale
word on track.
application, there's no application.
so there's no application, okay,
It's
And
stale.
as he
It's close.
mentioned,
Thank
the
you.
moratorium that the
yes.
commissioners put on.
So he starts over the process again, is kind of the,
That's facility.
Yeah, not on.
not on solar.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we have a little bit of a problem. You know, it'll turn into a bigger problem, but I want to go back so I don't go through all of this again. Because I didn't need the commissioner to tell me the reason we staled your permit was so we had a level playing field. My level playing field was when I signed the application for the permit. And from that point on, it was to do everything right, not to have people drive down 2000 Road and look at ungodly solar panels. I was told by pretty officials that kind of run this show here, let's call it, that, well, we'll just have to find them. We know we have the drawings because it's county rule. You can't build a road without engineering. Well, that wasn't the case. So that's where I'm starting, and I'm moving this way. You know, I sat down, I can't tell you the meetings that I sat in, and Everett as a code compliance officer sat with an individual who could have cared less about my solar farm. She was more into wedding dresses and all of this stuff. And that wasn't my reason to have a meeting. I was just trying to get to the point where I can keep going forward. I could never get there, but lied to and lied to and lied to. And I don't want all the people coming after me to have to go through this. Because I didn't come here to weasel something in, to get something for nothing, to pull the wool over somebody's eyes. I wanted to know what they wanted in the beginning, and I'll make this thing work, and you'll be able to put it in a magazine as the greatest thing since apple pie.
I'm confused. Why do you need the road plans to move forward?
Because I was building a farmable berm, so when you came down 2000 Road,
Okay,
all you saw was alfalfa.
okay.
And the solar panels were dropped down on the salt domes, which is useless ground.
Okay,
And
so that's where you needed the specs on the road or something? Or the-
yeah, plus they put the road on my property and threatened to move it again. They moved the road over so they could cover the Tri-County water easement that a previous lady who's retired gave Tri-County Water a construction easement and an easement to put the water line on our property. Nobody paid taxes on that but me. You know, when we started out on bare ground, I don't have to tell you what 120 acres cost. It was 5,000 a year. And then you can start cleaning up all the junk cars. Oh, and by the way, we didn't put them on the property. You have to go pay the county dump for taking them off. And on and on. While I was pulling them off, they were putting them on. The only thing that helped is I put forks on the loader and I would pick them up and put them on 2000 road, and then they weren't my problem. But that's not the way to do it. But that's the only thing that got anybody's attention. I mean, I was treated, no, I'm passing that one. But for the future, when you guys are, as you slowly get your arms around this whole thing, make it so that everybody's on the same page. That's all we're asking for. That's all I'm asking for. I mean, I was through 5 planning people. They'd hire a guy said, I'm not living in this world. Gone. The first girl I was given, Angie, I was sitting out there with Everett and with Carl Holmes. This is before the big deal in Monterey. And he's talking about how great it is. And I said, well, Angie, I'd like to get started. And she said, well, you better get going because I'm leaving next week. And after that, they were dropping like flies. And then Sean's the only guy who really stuck around for the music. And now Sean's leaving. Sorry that you're going. I mean, you were actually making headway, but I understand your situation. And God bless you.
So moving forward,
Moving forward,
we're gonna see you at some point, it sounds like. soon.
yeah. It has nothing to do with.
Do you have a clear direction, Chuck, now of what needs to be done so that you can move your project forward? Do you have a clear direction now?
Well, the direction right now is, it looks like federal court to get my planning permit, my operation permit that I applied for back.
Okay,
It was taken away legally. And maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. I don't think they're right, but that's why they have attorneys. But sure is a pain in the rear end. But now, you know, it's, what do they say? Interest is what you get at the bank, or is it principal? Principal is what you get at the bank. You don't get it in the courtroom.
well,
Thanks,
and there
guys.
has been some turnover. That just happens.
I'm
Attrition
it's
happens.
just so thin. I've been
Yeah.
probably more meetings than anybody.
Yeah, and it happens.
To see how people talk, where their interests are, if they know what they're doing.
Yep.
And there were some people that shouldn't have been on the planning commission. They don't have the time to think about it. They're just trying to stay alive. You know, it's a lot of work for you guys. It's,
Yeah.
you know, but try going back and digging when you get stonewalled, especially by all the county officials. And all I'm asking for is a set of plans. Why didn't they say in the beginning, oh, we don't have them? Oops, we were supposed to have plans. That's what I've faced. I mean, it'll get better. Maybe I can help make it better.
Sure, we've got a
Or
couple
maybe not.
openings on the, just so I tell you, we have a couple openings in some of the districts, so I just tell you.
Well, we only have one for one and,
Yeah,
no, if I was younger, I would raise my hand.
Okay.
I think I'd have something to contribute. That's only my thoughts.
So I think, again, just you can reiterate about what you feel about stonewalling or this or that, but at the end of the day, you now know what needs to be done to kind of refresh it and
Yep.
move it forward, correct?
Yeah. And from there, we'll move forward.
There
I
you-
just don't want you to think that I'm the only jerk out there.
No, we're open to serve you, so thank you so much for your time this evening.
No, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
You're the ones that need to be.
Well.
I just come to the meetings and listen to them.
So, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Do we
Ed.
have anything else from staff that we need to address, next meeting? A little report like that big or just a little,
Pretty.
Just a little
I can
report.
keep it short.
no, I'm just picking on you. Sean's got a little report.
I wanted to let you know that Hostetler got approved. I think you probably saw that in High Country Shopper or Spotlight. If you want to see that resolution, you're welcome to ask me for it. I'll send it to you.
No, they first went to the Board of County Commissioner and then
Yeah,
it was,
keep this.
I know, but I have a question now. They went originally to the Board of County Commissioner, that meeting on that Tuesday. And it was,
They tabled it
they tabled it that time.
because of claim about the water.
That's right.
rights. or
Okay.
Upper Surface Creek Domestic Water Users Association.
Okay,
And that was disputed, and that was determined by Bob Herford of the Division of Water Resources that they had the water rights
Okay.
that they were claiming.
okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Any questions about that?
What setbacks did they decide on?
They had to get the reduction in the setbacks to be approved, so it was the reduction of 500 feet.
500 feet.
Any others?
You do have a resolution you can share with us, just.
Yeah, I can share it with you guys electronically, if you'd like, see it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would really like that.
There's a lot of
Okay.
conditions on it that they've got to meet, but
Because there was quite a few public comment. Wasn't it like 40 or 50 people that showed up just here, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot, Todd. It was,
On purpose.
and the applicant was a very quiet applicant. I think that was hard. His friend who also had a chicken farm production place, remember, he started trying to talk for him to try to help him out. I think that was part of it.
Yeah, he has two advisors that have successful chicken
Yeah.
operations and that, you know, he's working in partnership with. They're all-
Right.
They're Mennonites, they go to church together.
Correct.
But he knew from the get-go that he didn't have enough property for his plant operation.
He may not have. I
Yeah,
mean, he thought he did based upon what was understood for setbacks from residences and not residential uses, which is got a specific definition to measure from property lines of those properties that are tax assessed residential. Yeah. Like the first site plan he submitted had setbacks measured from the barn to all the surrounding residences.
hmm
And, you know, we ate that hook, line and sinker ourselves because if you look at just the table, it says setbacks from residential uses, 1,000 foot. And then you're looking at a site plan, it shows 1,500 feet to houses. You know, carefully read the definition in that section that says that it's from the property lines of properties tax assessed residential. Yeah. That's on
Okay.
us. We did that and he did that. But it also, it's not a variance, but there is an allowed reduction to setbacks in that part of the code. For whatever reason that was created.
It's in there for a reason.
It was a hard one to get through.
yeah. Okay.
All right. Another thing is that you may have heard of Rhythm Ranches up on 3100 Road is having a rave event this weekend. Have you heard about this?
No,
Oh my, you haven't been a part of
I'm
this stuff.
so glad I don't practice anymore.
Yeah, it's up on Redlands Mesa, you know, going on 3100 Road.
and it splits and the cement goes one way and the dirt goes down the other to the, that way?
I
Up on
don't know where
somewhere,
on
okay.
3100 exactly.
It's not on, it's in the 1400 block of.
Okay,
None of you
Anyway.
were on Facebook?
This guy is an event organizer for raves around the country, and he's got a piece of property up there and he's having a rave. You know what a rave is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
You were kind of.
Heard of it? Yeah, see, I haven't gone to one, so.
Have you?
No, I haven't. But is there no special event thing that they have?
A 3-day event. And Everett really, you know, like this came to our attention because there are people that got like, this happened, he held one last year and it was a raucous event and it had a lot of complaints. And so it came to us, and he was advertising, selling tickets and everything for this year. And we have our special event,
Yeah.
you know, standards in the land use code. But Everett really, you know, met with them and I won't say, how to put it, carefully read our land use code, and it did not fall under the special event, you know. kind
Oh,
of
it doesn't
standards. It doesn't fit because it has enormous impacts on adjacent properties, and what were some of the other?
So
The
the
two.
issue is that it's a private event when it was originally written, as you guys were aware, when we were doing the land use code revisions. The 21 code said you could have a special event, and as long as it wasn't over 500 people, you needed nothing. So then we did in 2024, we had to really go, well, that was crazy. We should not let that happen. And we created the special event provisions that still the intent was you could have a wedding on your property. It was private with your family and not really fall into this
Right.
whole permitting issue. And it was, you guys spent a lot of time crafting how to word that. And due to the special crafting, I was able to indicate through that workmanship of how we set in the special events, there were two specific areas in there, because basically it says a special event that meets standards doesn't need a permit, allowed use. However, they are still required to meet requirements, which everyone seems to skip the second part. However, part of the situation was is the location and nature of the special event shall be such that it will not adversely affect adjacent and nearby agricultural or intensive agricultural uses, nor allow trespassing. And another phrase was no potential cause significant negative impact on adjacent nearby properties, residents, or businesses, such as excessive noise, dust, or smoke. And another part that I found was I ended up attending a meeting that was a neighborhood meeting in Hotchkiss about the fact that he was advertising for this again. I was asked to go. So I had about 30 people there, all expressing very loudly the negative impacts to their properties. And due to that, we then had the opening to say this is going to be a permitted event that needs a limited use of notice. And so that's kind of how we opened the window. This will be the first one that is a limited use that will expire in 3 days. It will have an issue date and an end date.
It was great. I mean, look, this guy is gonna do this whether we permitted him or not. And there's not a whole lot of heat in any agency, the sheriff's office, whatever, to shut this thing down or stop it. That's crazy to me, but that's kind of in some, like how it is.
So you issued a permit with conditions?
Well, these
Well,
conditions.
Oh, you're working on it,
It's
okay.
conditioned to death. He has an excellent site plan.
Yeah.
He has all kinds of emergency access. Doug Fritz is all over this and has, laid out all kinds of conditions for safety, for medical,
And the applicant has stepped up.
Yeah,
And he has created a great packet, his SOP manual, because I gave him a substantial list of requirements. Including medical plan, evacuation plan, fire.
Yeah, you wanna go.
And he stepped up his SOPs for each of the plan I asked for, about 42 pages long.
How many people will he anticipate coming?
He wants to see 300.
After midnight, they put on earphones.
Yeah, then it turns into a silent disco.
silent disco.
Yeah, have you seen them?
No.
It's very weird and creepy.
Everybody's.
When is this, so we know when to avoid this area?
Listening to the music.
This weekend. So avoid this weekend, 3100 Road.
You guys, a heads up, there is provision when you read land use code to use the word that we have
Mhm.
to create the solution, because again, we came together. A lot of this is also based on our own language. Anytime someone says and sees the word allowed, they immediately
Yeah.
have decided they need to not follow anything from us. And so once I explained it to him, we talked about it, he then became, very cooperative. And again, they turned this around
They did.
in lightning speed. I
They
mean,
did a
I've been
lot of
running
great work.
nonstop on it.
And Everett did a lot of great work.
But they have contracted security, contracted medical staff,
Wow.
all the provisions that we have, which are already indicated in our land use code, were applied. And he is documented, made it well.
We're keeping it short. So any questions about that?
Yeah.
That's good news, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I
Where do you
didn't.
want to take it?
And he's
There you go.
for sale. $150. Oh, was it 100?
And then you can come next time, report to us, Chuck, how that turned out in public comment.
The next thing I want to tell you about is that this next month, at the end of the, not the first PC hearing, the first one, we'll probably schedule, because the new director will be on staff at that time, so introduce him to everybody and talk about whatever we talk about there. But the second one in June, I'm getting it kind of organized and hopefully with all the public notice requirements, it'll hit that date, June 24th. It will be a hearing for the rezoning of Clearwater Enterprises, all that property off of Shea Road down there off Highway 92. you've driven by it, you've seen all the signs up there for property for sale or whatever, do that. You know, going back to 2000 and 2004, 5, 6, 7, there were plans to subdivide all that acreage out there. They pump water out of the Gunnison to a water treatment facility there. They've got pipes running through all that property. So this guy, he's been applying for this for about 1.5 years, and he has finally submitted a complete application they can take through. So I think this is ludicrous because he wants to divide it up into 1 acre lots. Yeah,
God's eyes twin.
Yeah. okay, but just hold on though. So again, you know, we've been telling them, you know, you should bring this as a preliminary plat and a rezone together because there's a lot you gotta kind of show evidence for, you know, they do all septic systems and 1 acre lots, all this. But anyway, we went did a site visit and he finally coughed up, you know, all the infrastructure plans that he got his hands on, you know, where there's electric, gas and water lines out there. So it's substantial infrastructure out there to support a rezone request. Whether it would be successful or not, we'll see. But that's what's going to be coming at the end of June. And we will do a site visit out there. This will be different. We will go,
Okay, good.
we will do a public hearing site visit.
Okay.
I'm gonna set it up so that I post the agenda a week before the official, you know, hearing that we do in this room. And in between that, we're gonna go out and have a site visit day for the planning commission and for the board of county commissioners, because it's a rezone, just like we just had today.
But you're gonna give us enough time so that everybody
Yeah.
within their
That's-
schedules
It
can
has
get.
to be publicly noticed and everything.
We're gonna have to schedule a date.
And that's the June
Very
24th
good.
meeting you're talking about, that's when we're gonna hear it.
June 24th is the.
The meeting
official hearing
here.
date. The agenda will be posted a week before that, and somewhere in between there, depending upon how we can work it.
Okay.
We'll do a site visit so people can go out there. We'll do it all together. There's no ex parte, there's no sideline.
Great.
It's gonna be like a public hearing on site.
On site.
Have he fixed the water storage tank that was leaking?
But we're not gonna get
Yeah,
into the
which one?
detail, but there will be a site.
Not the
visit.
cistern for the raw water, but the treated water?
Yeah.
And I don't know. You can ask that and we'll go up there and look at it.
Okay.
But you know, this is, the first step is that he's trying to get a rezone to be able to do development. And obviously, it's 835 and he wants to go to Res 1. Res 1 is what we have for around municipalities where there's infrastructure, but he's saying, he's got
Got the
infrastructure. You know?
Yeah.
Start a water company.
He does have a water company, but he needs to bring it up to the next level.
Wow.
As a public water company after he gets like 8 more units on. So
Okay.
he's aware of all that. He's laying it out. I mean, a year and a half ago, he was not giving us any information. He's starting to give us enough information, and he's got Todd Herrick, who Denison River Farms, is a part of it. So it's a real deal, I think.
It'll be a planning commission, outing.
So
I like that though.
that's just a little heads up. We're gonna have to do it that way. It's a big one.
Will that be your last meeting with us on the 24th?
I won't be doing that, but I'm gonna line it all up for the new director.
So your last meeting with us potentially could be June 10th if we have a meeting on June 10th still.
June 9th, isn't it? I think, yeah.
This says the town.
Is it the 10th? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
10th is a
The
Wednesday.
10th.
When's your last day?
Yeah.
He comes on the 8th, and then I was gonna stay to the 15th, you know, to overlap a week. I don't know how that all works.
So we'll meet the new director somewhere on that June 10th meeting, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Do we know who this person is yet or?
Yeah,
Can you give us a name?
his name is Oren with an A, Oran Stainbrook.
Is he on the Facebook page? Oh.
He has many things.
Yeah,
Is he from here or somewhere else?
from Utah. So,
Todd,
You bring all his wives with him?
after,
yeah, after.
after. We're still on
Wait.
record.
And are you moving from the area? Are you staying in this area? Not just.
I'm gonna be here and I might be on part-time. That's my hope because we're still doing this permit management software.
Okay.
It needs to be configured and I'm gonna
Okay.
work on that.
Thank you.
As a project manager.
That, I think
part-time.
Amy used to bring him up to speed on what we're in the process with
Yeah.
the land use code revisions.
Yeah.
Vet regs, natural medicine.
So our June tenth is definitely gonna have, do we have anything on our agenda except to meet this new director? What else do we have on our agenda on that?
There'll probably be a,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe just a brief work session to.
I don't think we have any.
Yeah, I didn't see anything coming up.
We don't have any.
And then, and in between the tenth and the 24th is when we're gonna do this on-site visit together.
Yes, we'll.
No,
keep you-
not the 10th and 24th.
No.
No, you said
Between.
between.
Yeah, I know. It'll be whatever the week before the 24th is, somewhere in that week.
The 15th, okay.
Yeah.
Just so I have an idea.
And then the land use code revisions, they're all kind of stacked up. The commissioners have reviewed the best regs. They were supposed to still review the decommissioning and financial surety portion with the county attorney, you know, that part of it, but that's pretty close to the finish line to be able to go through the public process. The site plan review, bringing that back, they haven't really looked at what we've put together for that yet, so they've got that yet to look at. And then, I just found another thing the other day that we need to clean up in the land use code. I think there's the setbacks for animal feeding operations, they're 1,000 feet from, residential uses.
Brittany,
Sorry, Brittany found it.
Give credit when credit's due.
But when he found it, it triggered off about 50 other things that all of a sudden I thought would be implicated.
Mhm.
Sorry, you're right.
It's okay.
Brittany found
You
it.
can take the thunder.
Brittany is all the one. The 1,000 feet setback from residential uses as defined as properties that are tax assessed residential applies to rural, medium and heavy industry. There's a lot of things that fall under that. A lot of things. I mean, shop repairing farm equipment, gravel pits and ready mix plants, and you gotta be 1,000 feet setback from a property line. of
That
a
needs to
property
be
tax.
changed.
Oh, man, there's hardly anywhere you could do anything in Delta County that would be rural, medium, or.
We've got far reaching implications.
Yeah, it's like, that's way restrictive. I don't think that is the intent.
Cattle feeding operation just smells like money anyway. They're all-
Anyway, that's the new thing. And then, so then that was it. The last thing was the new director. So
Thank you.
that's it.
Yes, sir. Anything else that we need to address this evening before we wrap it up? If not, I'm gonna say that our May 27th meeting is gonna be adjourned. Thank you for everybody coming this evening and for your input, and we'll see you on June the 10th.